All right, well, we'll just talk like normal and we'll just get started. Okay, so just start off by telling us, about Carly growing up as a child. What was she like growing up around you?
Um, I thought she was the easiest child. I heard that parenting was hard. She was the easiest child we've ever, I mean, I've ever, that was like doing nothing. We had really enjoyed ourselves, and she was a wonderful child, and she was obviously multi-talented, gifted. Um, we loved each other. We loved that girl.
Okay. So in terms of Ashley, I know we heard in court that you all were going through custody battles. Just take us through some of that, as Carly got older. I know you guys split.
Yeah. We were married in 2025. We met in 2024 at work, in Oxford, Mississippi. Um, uh, we were married, and we lived in Oxford in 2025. We moved to Nashville in 2026. We moved back to, well, we decided to, out of love, we wanted to have a child. So we made a decision to stop not trying to. And we got pregnant with Carly, and then we decided to want to be close to family like we were, with our grandparents. That was my logic. And so we moved back to Mississippi. Um, we lived in Columbus until 2012. Well, she separated from me in 2012, December 2012. Left 18-wheeler tracks in my front yard.
Okay, so once you guys separated, what was it like parenting Carly then?
Oh, then it became extremely difficult, and then my stress and everything started. And I was perpetually attacked in court, to fight, to destroy my custody or diminish my capacity as my authority as having joint legal custody with Carly. And so I can imagine. I mean, if you want my opinion, I think that strained Carly quite a bit, like it does a lot of child, like it does a lot of children who's when one parent decides to try and turn the other one, against the other. And I mean, there's laws against that, but people do it anyway. I mean, that's just common.
And growing up seeing Carly, did she ever show any signs of mental illness?
Oh, I mean, elevated energy. I mean, that's childlike. Having to tell her to slow down when she ramps up. I'm the same way.
And speaking of you, they talked a lot about your mental state.
Oh, did they?
Do you suffer from any mental illness?
Hang on a second. No, I'm not gonna make a joke. I mean, I was gonna say something like, well, I don't know. Today I'm on OxyClean and sheetrock. What are y'all snorting? That's how cynical I got watching 40 hours of me being having my character just defamed, with collateral damage. My daughter being just sad.
Yeah, and they brought up allegations of abuse, drug use. What do you say to that?
Me. uh there was absolutely no abuse, none physical, none mental. I believe, and my family, and we spoke to attorneys, and there's court records and documentation uh, that this was playing opposites basically. She was keeping me in year 7, year 8, uh, Carly's life. She was in Warren County, living in Bovina, Mississippi, in a small A-frame up a hill alone in an isolated area away from civilization. Um, anyway, she wouldn't let me see Carly because we had an incident, and she took me to justice court. Well, there was no incident the first time. She took me to justice court over text messages claiming that I was threatening her when I was asking her about Carly's health situation because she had to take her to the hospital, and I have joint legal custody, and I love my daughter. So that's how it started. And it started with, as far as abuse, there was absolutely none. As far as, I don't know, get specific and I'll answer your question on this because there were so many. I couldn't keep up.
Well, I mean, they talked about you being diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Have you been
Yes, and I do agree with that diagnosis to a great extent. I believe that I am bipolar 3.
and have you been diagnosed with it by a doctor?
I have been previously diagnosed by physicians with bipolar multiple times, and I agree.
Okay. What was your what was March the 19th like for you when you found out what happened?
I was sitting at home alone, chilling and at peace, which was not usual because I hadn't seen Carly since October or September of 2022. And we had never fought. And then all of a sudden we got in an argument. Her mother had always been trying to tell her mother, hey, tell your dad that you want to control the visitation. You know, you want to call him when you want to see him, you know, because she just wanted to remove me out of her situation because she hated me intensely. Anyway, so let's see what year. I didn't see her I didn't see her. I finally after years and years of that, I said, okay, Carly, I don't trust your mother, but you're getting pretty old. You're like what, 12 years old. You want control of the visitation. Okay, you call me when you want to see me then. And I gave her that responsibility and that apparently burden because the next call I received from her was in jail. Hey, Dad, hadn't seen you in a year, and it had been in a year and a half.
What was your thoughts though when you heard that Carly had done that to Ashley?
Ashamed, embarrassed, angry, upset, very sad. I loved her too. You know, we were married for almost a decade. You know, I thought she was blessed to have moved from Bovina to Rankin and lived in a nice place, and I felt sorry for Heath because I know, personally, I don't want to say anything bad about Ashley if I don't have to, but I didn't know Heath at all. I never met him. I just feel sorry for him because I knew I never heard anything bad about Heath from Ashley either. Like the only thing Carly ever said about Heath was that he had no backbone and he he wouldn't stand up to Ashley and would let Ashley run, like Ashley had all the pants in the thing, and apparently Carly didn't respect that. I don't know what was going down there. Like the reason why I agreed to talk with you guys is I believe y'all want to know that as much as I want to know, and I've been kept in the dark. I don't even know. I don't know about the sentencing yet. I don't know about the parole yet. I don't know how long she's going to be, or if she's in Rankin County Jail right now. I don't have any communication with her right now. Bridget Todd shut all that down and made it very cloudy, etc. I don't want to get into family law stuff, but this is more family law attacks on me than anything that's relevant to a murder. And I agree, fortunately, that my daughter is guilty, very guilty. I agreed when I saw the video evidence on day 2 of like, who are you? I don't even know you. It was devastating.
That's what I was going to ask. So do you, that was the premise of this case. Was Carly mentally ill so much that she didn't know right from wrong? Do you think Carly was that mentally ill that she did not know what she was doing?
That girl knew right from wrong. That girl is not insane. That was a very dumb defense, if you ask me. But I wasn't involved. Nobody ever called me.
So why didn't you?
In fact, I have joint legal custody, and I would think that every single psychologist and psychiatrist and medical professional that talked to Carly and had an opinion about her and prescribed her prescription medicine should have spoken with me as well. Don't you agree? That's her father with legal custody.
And some people would believe that. Some people would think that since if you did actually have joint custody, and I say that like I'm not thinking that you're lying. I'm just saying, if you had joint custody, that you would have been more involved in her case. I mean, now that her mother is deceased.
Her mother was actively, I'm sorry, Kara. Her mother was actively keeping, max parental controls, would not allow any of my calls through, would not allow any of my emails through, was being very selective with everything, controlling every situation. and there was no way I could get in. And she drugged me through 4 courts perpetually, attacking me. They said in court that it was me starting the stuff legally. No, it was the opposite. I was always the defendant. Maybe I should have been more proactive, and we did, with counsel, I did consider calling CPS about her mental abuse on Carly at an early age. And she showed suicidal ideation when she couldn't see me for a year, between 7 years and 8 years old, in Warren County. Had a guardian ad litem during one of her perpetual manipulative court cases against me to fight for my custody, against my custody, or to take my visitation away, restricted, or whatever.
Do you think life without parole was not fair, or do you think Carly got the right sentence?
I don't know what's the parole like. I thought that if you were a juvenile, that you obviously have a chance at parole, right?
No, she'll never get out. So how does that make you feel?
I'm still processing it. It's very sad. I mean, I used to see her every day, and we loved each other so much, and then that devastated me. The divorce, it devastated her. Then we had a death in the family. Her younger daughter died when she was young. That's nobody's talking about the dynamic between Ashley and Carly after Natalie died. That's a lot. There's a lot to this, and nobody's asking me a thing until now.
Do you have any other children outside of Natalie and Carly?
No, ma'am. No, it was Natalie, who was born in June 20th, 2012 in West Point at NMMC, and Carly was born April 23rd, 2009 in OCH here in Starfield.
So, in terms of now, Bridget Todd, that's where I wanted to go with this. How, to your knowledge, how did Bridget Todd even, get involved in this case?
Well, I had never heard of her. The first time I had contact with her, she sent me 3 text messages. I'll get into that later. I found out in discovery myself because I was watching it on YouTube and learning stuff just as fast as you guys were, and it was blowing my mind too. And I was like, holy crap, she knew Ashley before Ashley died. She was the chancery expert who was going to try to attack me in court, in Warren again, because she had summoned me back to chancery because I had already gotten out of a youth court, the 3rd one, when I had to substitute counsel and get out of expert, because they were just burying me like I was in Rutherford County or something. I mean, I don't know what was going on down there.
Do you think that
I mean, I do, but I don't want to talk about it all in detail.
Do you think Bridget Todd and Kevin Camp gave her adequate representation?
Now this may be my bias because I've never seen a trial, and I sat there and I watched 40 hours of a trial, and I saw it from the prelim to the now, and every tactic that I saw, that's the worst representation I've ever seen so far. On by anybody for anybody.
They're talking about filing an appeal for Carly. Kevin Camp.
I don't think that would help Carly. I don't think anything's going to help Carly unless she wants to use the truth and rehabilitation and remorse, as defense tactics, as opposed to letting the defense, and obviously she was led by everyone around her, and she's so young. Her mother was leading her quite a bit, and they brought that out a little bit in court. Mother's temper and mother controlling the intake, and all the psychologists, how mother was setting the narrative for, and choosing them like Annette Bryant, the first fixer, quote, very experienced counselor in Warren County, where she didn't know I had joint legal custody, and when crossed by my esquire in court in Warren, she said, no, I did not know that Mr. Gregg had custody. And he said, well, now that you know that, what do you think? She said, I think they should get another therapist.
So, it's a question I have to ask. A lot of people were just very puzzled by Heath Smiley standing by Carly's side. Do you think that anything may have been going on between Heath and Carly with the time of them living together or after?
I don't know. No, he taught her how to shoot a gun. He bought her a pocket knife. I mean, it sounds like some typical stepdad stuff.
But you don't think anything inappropriate in their relationship was happening?
I got 99 theories, but a fact ain't one.
Yeah, okay. Well, Keith,
Kevin.
I guess I want to know.
Oh, Heath. What about Heath?
No, I said Keith. Kevin, I'm sorry, I said the wrong name.
That's all right. I get that all the time. That's all right. Heath, Kevin. I've heard a lot worse. I heard a lot worse this week.
So what is your thoughts? Are you going to try to reconnect with Carly?
I would love to find out exactly what's going on. But it's been a Breland family law evolution ever since Ashley attacked me initially in 2013 for, the divorce. They started with the family attorney that was related to her mother, so side of the family. I mean, that's just how it started, and it's just been that way ever since. And what you saw go down was the way I've been treated ever since. The defendant crapped on and without relevance. And there were a couple of partial truths which concerned me in this last trial, which made me talk to my last retained attorney about that custody summit in Warren. And so I was going to go down there and defend my honor and drag through the court to defend my honor, to be her dad and to continue to, try and be an influence positive in her life. Now, yes, previously in my life, I did a lot of drugs. Yes. And I admit them. And yes, I told a lot of, maybe, I talk too much. Listen how fast and how often I talk. I'm expressive in a full range of emotion, and I talk a lot. And I talk a lot about the past, and I mention a lot of information to people to educate. Is what I thought I was doing, is telling Carly all about these drugs and my conditions, physical and mental. I'm 50 years old. So, I'm on meds. I'm on blood pressure meds, and I'm on, ibuprofen. I'm an old man. Anyway, I forgot what I was saying. Maybe that's mental.
It's because you're an old man. That happens to me.
I don't know. Maybe that's aging disorder 3.
Yes.
I don't know. I looked it up.
Yeah. Well, do you have anything else you'd like to add, or anything else you'd like to tell us? Maybe anything, if Carly were to see this, you want Carly to know from you?
I love Carly, and I would love to have tried to help her the best I could. I kept screaming in my head, why couldn't you just have called me? Just pick up the phone and call. I said, if you love me, you call me. She didn't pick up the phone, and she circumvented her mother's controls. I'm in the IT industry, but I'm no hacker. I've had a security focus in the past, but I definitely didn't teach her any of that stuff. But Ashley was very smart. I wasn't considered unintelligent, and Carly was beyond us both. Brilliance, multi-talent.
Last question. Why do you think Carly did this? Why do you think Carly killed her mother?
I don't know, and trying to get into her head like that, like I have been in the dark for 6 months, has driven me crazy. I don't want to get in her head because I don't believe we're the same. I choose fire, evil is good. I taught her Genesis to David, but I don't want to, I remember when she was 5, I was reading to her about the 10 Commandments and Exodus, and I said that lying was bad, and that you shouldn't tell a lie, and you should tell the truth. And she started crying. And she separated when she was right before she turned 4, was when she separated from me and Ashley. She had suicidal ideation on record in Warren County. I wonder where that lady is.
Ashley did, or Carly did?
Carly.
Okay.
So, and then this, as far as the Prozac, where they said that Ashley was immediately suicidal on it. Her high school sweetheart left her. This is what Ashley told me. Her husband, her new husband. Her high school sweetheart left her. It made her suicidal. She was on Prozac. She grabbed the whole bottle to kill herself and drank the whole thing and had to have her stomach pumped. Now, I've never been suicidal. So, I mean, I just wondered where her head was. I mean, she was colder than me, you know, I was the cool dad. So I tried to balance Ashley's crazy with my crazy, and that didn't help. So, I mean, you know, I've been sitting here in permanent reflection for 6 months. And like I said, that's almost like permanent psychosis sometimes. I mean, you know, I mean, I went from phases of crying myself to sleep, like that's my baby, and she's sleeping on a steel bed, you know, and then the last thing I heard from her is like, this is really hard, daddy. You know, they're threatening me. One called me a C, one called me a N, you know, one called me a M, you know, all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. You know, I don't know what to say. I don't have open dialogue. You know, I'm just waiting for an opportunity where she approaches me and I see that she's looking for, you know, I mean, it was during that case where the first thing she said to me when I talked to her in jail, she said, she said, I'm having a hard time remembering the past. She said that. And then she said, I spoke with Papa, and Papa, the first thing Papa said was, don't call your dad, he'll go to the media. I'm an IT security professional. Look for me on social media. This is against my will. The only reason I'm proactively doing this is because I love my daughter and I like to know where she's going to be. And I would like to know if there's a possibility at all of her being mentally rehabbed. And I would like to speak to anybody with a mental opinion, you know, as a medical professional. You know, I would like to be privy to all that information as well, you know.
And when was the last time you spoke to Carly?
In jail. Before that, October 2022.
Okay, but in jail, there was only ever that one phone call, or was there like a series?
There were multiple video and text. There was suppressed and mediated. I could tell there was a lot of, you know, I could tell Todd was running it or somebody. You know, and Ashley was never communicated to me for Carly's benefit, you know, which most reasonable you know, families that I know that divorce, you know, and divorce is very common, you know, and they intellectually, reasonably, logically sit down and discuss their children for the benefit of that child. And Ashley didn't do that with me, and that happens.
Well, thank you. And I guess my final question would be, do you think Carly should be able to receive parole? Do you think she should get a chance at a life outside of prison after what she's done?
I don't want to judge her. I hope she finds Jesus. I hope she can reconcile with what she did. I hope she can enjoy her life in the sun, and I hope I get to visit her sometime, and I hope we get to write and correspond. And I want to get into her brain, but very cautious right now, and there are several layers of this pending, and I just want to watch it play out.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you
All
so
right.